Hi there everyone, welcome to Tech Cravers. This is the Powkiddy RK2023. This handheld is sure to be a watershed among handheld fans, as it's, at least according to me, not the prettiest handheld to come in 2023, and the RK3566 chipset that we find inside is a year or so late to the scene. However, priced under $100, it's still considered to be a budget-friendly handheld, and Powkiddy claims that you can play systems up to and including N64 on it. So sit back and relax, as in this video I thought we would find out whether or not the RK2023 from Powkiddy is worth picking up. So this is actually the first time I get to review a Powkiddy device on this channel, but I've always been interested to try it out since some of Powkiddy's earlier devices like the RGB20S and the clamshell Powkiddy V90 are both fan favorites from the past. Now the unboxing is very basic. It comes in this mint green box with a sticker on top which version you bought. On mine it says 64GB. Inside we get the handheld itself, a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, and a tiny quick start guide to get you started. First impression of the device is that I found it to be surprisingly comfortable to hold. Its ergonomic design, complete with the curved sides, makes it one of the more comfortable devices to grasp. In fact, it has a similar feel to that of a Game Boy Advance or the new Anbernic RG405M, even though it's of course a lot lighter than the Anbernic because of its plastic shell. And speaking of design, here it is next to the RG353P and the RG405M, both made by Anbernic. And as you can see, when I put it above the RG353P, it's quite a bit smaller. The same applies when I put it above the RG405M, meaning it should suit people that have a bit smaller hands. My hands are on the bigger side, and I accidentally touch the screen sometimes with my thumbs, and as a fingerprint hater, that annoys me quite a bit. And as I mentioned earlier, it weighs almost nothing compared to the metallic RG405M, so if you're into lightweight plastic devices, you're gonna like the RK2023. And as a last comparison, here you can see the thickness compared to the Anbernic devices. And although the RG353P may look a lot thicker, it also has much better shoulder buttons since they are stacked. Speaking of buttons, the face buttons on this device are slightly larger than those on other devices, and they rise a bit higher, providing a unique tactile sensation when used. This design makes them very comfortable to use. Both the action buttons and the D-pad use rubber membrane. I'm not a super fan of the D-pad design on the RK2023. It's a bit chunky and it feels cheap and not as comfortable to use as Anbernic's D-pads, for example. The shoulder buttons are parallel, and as followers of this channel might know, not exactly my favorite type of shoulder buttons. However, I want to give Powkiddy a plus here, as they are easily reachable and give a pretty satisfying click when pressed. On top we have, apart from the shoulder buttons, volume buttons, an HDMI out port, a reset button, and power on/off button. And if we flip the device, we find a USB charging port to the left, a micro SD card slot which contains the operating system, a headphone jack, another micro SD card slot to all your games, a OTG port, as well as dual speakers on the edges. On the sides of the device we have no buttons at all. And before we get to some emulation testing on this device, I want to go through the specifications of it. And for CPU, we have that slightly old RK3566 chip at 1.8 GHz, and anybody who has a lot of experience with current handheld emulation devices will not be that impressed by what the Powkiddy RK2023 has to offer. The scene is starting to move on from that RK3566 chipset. For RAM, we have 1 GB of LPDDR4, and that 1 GB should be enough since we don't try to run Android on this device. The screen is a 3.5-inch IPS at 640 by 480 resolution, and for storage we have a micro SD card for the OS and one for the games, and depending on what you buy, you can get a 32, 64 or 128 GB card preloaded with games. The battery is a 3500 mAh, and it should give you between 6 and 8 hours of gameplay. The device comes with Yellow's operating system out of the box. But now it's time for some actual gameplay, and I'm starting with some lower end systems, and then I move up and try to play as modern system as possible. But as already stated in this video, this device won't play anything newer than N64 and the PlayStation. But now I just let the gameplay speak for itself. When it comes to N64 on the Powkiddy RK2023, I want to mention a few things. Because the thing is that with the default emulator, most, if not every N64 game will suffer from stutters and lag. Check out a few seconds from this gameplay. Fortunately, there is a quite easy fix for it, however, it will require some tweaking on your side. If you scroll down to the game you want to play and hit X on your device, you will open a menu for that specific game. Scroll down to Advanced Game Options and simply swap out the default emulator to another one. In this case, I'm going with the Rise fork of Muppen 64 instead. And as you can see, the lag is now gone. You might need to test your way forward for each N64 game that you want to play, but as long as you're willing to tinker some, I'd say that almost 100% of the game library is playable.
Here we go!
So yeah, that's been it for my review of the Powkiddy RK2023. In summary, this device is for those of you who are on a budget but still want a device capable of emulating games up to PlayStation and even N64. However, for N64 you might need to tinker some with the settings of this device to enhance your experience. I got my device sent to me from Geek Buying, so shout out to them. I will leave a non-affiliated link to their site as well as give you a discount code, so make sure to check out that if you want to buy this cheap device. Thanks a lot for watching the video, don't forget to give it a comment or a like if you did, and why not consider subscribing to my channel if you want more content like this in your feed. Catch you in the next one, Tech Cravers out.